Hello everyone, welcome back to Ninetail Hobbies. I decided to just say F it and start making content like this. I know it's very popular at the moment, but I really like the vlog style. And I think it's going to fit with this series very well, which is going to coincide with all of the custom Legion stuff that I've been doing. So Tours of Duty, super duper cool. Tonight, me and some of my locals at our LGS are starting a Tours of Duty campaign. So I thought it would be kind of cool to video journal the steps that we're taking, what works, what doesn't work. Since this is such a brand new thing, I thought it would be kind of cool to show people, because we are doing a custom campaign, like a custom setting that's going to be generic. We're sharing a Google Doc. The things that they did for Tours of Duty where you don't have to always be there, we're kind of reinforcing that. In the Google Doc, it's going to be somewhat of a journal so people can kind of keep up what everybody else is doing if they want to. Yeah, to see what works, what doesn't work. So this is going to be walking through what I'm doing with my army, a bit of filming at the store, as long as my opponent is cool with that, and then talking about what happened post-game, pre-game, post-game, prep for it, and different things. So I think for those that are interested in Tours of Duty, this is going to be an interesting thing, along with seeing the kit bashing. This is going to be kind of a journey to be going along with that. Yeah, let's take a look at some of the steps that I've done so far. Did was go out and I did print this. You can keep the PDF naturally, but I just like having a tactile version, especially if it's things that you need to reference and kind of flip back and forth through. I've got my register, which I'm going to fill out with you all, and then I picked my objectives. I'm playing clones, and I did just go with the peacekeeping mission for the clones, just to be simple, since this is the first time and I don't want to overcomplicate it. But I decided to pick daring defense, and I will show y'all my army. All right, so we've got our forces. I'm doing the 423rd Irregulars. We're doing peacekeeping mission, 600 combat potential. I'm doing 593, so that way I can spend it on strategic assets if I want to upgrade anything. So for my custom Jedi, I'm using some 3D printed proxies. These are not going to be the final ones that I do. I'm going to kit bash and kind of make everything myself. These were just like super duper quick speed painted. So we've got Jedi Knight General Tail Draji. That's a J. I have really poor handwriting. Jedi Counselor, Force Adept Clairvoyance, and Twin Lightsabers. I do want to spend the points to give them Saber Throw, just to try that out, because it sounds like a whole lot of fun. And then we've got Jedi Knight. I don't know if this is going to be their Padawan or not. I'll come up with the story on that later. But Crix Hamne, Jedi Guardian, Burst of Speed, Master Duelist, and Double-Bladed Lightsaber. To no one's surprise, I need a beat stick. The rest of the army is pretty light. Our clones with the DP-23, clones with a specialist, and then just a naked set of clones. These are not going to get names unless they survive their first battle. Same thing with the ARC Troopers, just a naked ARC. And then our ATRT, just because it is a custom build. This is not done. This is just base coats and everything. This is Krang, because I'm doing a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle themed build on something else. But yeah, that's it. 7 acts. Pretty straightforward, pretty simple. We've got all of our stuff. We're ready for the game. I'll show you the doc that we're using. As you can see, this is our generic doc that we're sharing. Very simple, straightforward campaign setting that anybody can do. This was inspired by, shout out to Hive Scum podcast with their brothers of Prometheum. This just allows you to explain why rebels are fighting clones or whatever, because timey-wimey and whatnot. And you could even throw in, the uniques and whatnot. Maybe they show up and, on one of their adventures. And then we've got just the different types of armies, a general backstory for them, their list. So this way we can keep track of how they get added and what happens to them and everything. And then we're probably going to do a battle log. And as you can see, we use some of the community suggestions. I've got it where comments are open so people can throw in whatever they think might be helpful. And this is just a general idea. We'll change it and adapt it as needed, and I'll update you guys on that and everything. So this is our start, and I'll let you know how it goes tonight. So last night was our first game of Tours of Duty, and it was as fun as I hoped it was going to be. About halfway through the game, my brain kind of finally switched over. Like, I'm not a competitive player. I like to play for fun, but you get wrapped up and you're like, oh, I've got to get the objectives and then everything. And about halfway through the game, both me and my opponent kind of looked at each other, and we're like, I don't think my character would do that. I'm going to run over here and try to take these guys out instead of grabbing the POI and everything. So that is when it really started to feel different. When we were playing more of what we thought our forces would do versus the most optimal way to play the game. Like, I could have achieved my my mission objective and everything. I was one away from securing it or contesting it 3 times, and I just had my Jedi operative run across the board to wipe out his commander, because that's his job. He's the beat stick. I thought he would sit there and wail on guys while he was holding the POI, and I could have stayed on there and held it, but it was way more interesting to do that with him. I took a little bit of video. I'll just give you guys the highlights and then show you what happened with my squad, and I'll try to remember, I don't have it written down, but I'll try to remember what my opponent did. But I ended up winning this much. We tied on VP. We both ended up with 10 at the end, and I beat him on kill points. Just barely. 423rd Irregulars got their first victory. This was me being a bad videographer and not getting enough footage, but this was the beginning of the game. I shoved all my stuff to one side. He wisely spread out his forces, the 69th with Commander Nice, and this was the end of the game. We both just had like one mini on each part. He still had his super squad. I hadn't touched it the entire time. All right, so this is how my roster ended up. Since I won and the way I rolled and everything, I had only spent 1 supply point to give them saber throw, which ended up really being worth it. This build is as fun as I thought it was going to be. Clairvoyance really kind of came in clutch. I had some nice conversions off of it. So it was totally worth it. And as you can see, held objective points, held POIs at the end, got their 1, and then they got their 3 for being the biggest threat. Almost progressed my agenda and everything, but I'm at 598 after I got the saber throw. And where they got at 5 experience points, they went up to veteran rank 1, and I ended up getting 1 in a million, which lets me upgrade 2 of my dice once per game, which I think is really going to come in handy. Crix just got 1. He was really good. He did, again, kind of what I expected. Wasn't crazy amounts of damage. It was just enough amounts of damage. Consistent, but with the potential to really spike. My DP-23 clone infantry squad, this is Helix. I decided to name all of them because they all got names. So we got Helix, Vortex, which they were holding a POI, clone specialist. There was 1 left on the board, so it was super duper close. Same thing with my clone infantry squad. They got wiped out, but they didn't take any setbacks or anything. They just rolled blanks. They are Spiral. And then my ARC troopers, I cannot remember. I think, yeah, Torrent is what I called them. They were decent. And then my RT Krang one-shotted a squad of ARC troopers and just stuck around all game. Didn't do a ton of damage except for that. Whiffed a couple times, but a lot of fun. So yes, 10 out of 10 would recommend. I'm very excited for the next game. Excited to grow the 423rd. So I'll check in next week and let you know how that progresses.